Located on 225 acres in Garden City, Long Island, Nassau Community College, a member of the State University of New York system, has close to 20,000 students attend the school each year. The college mascot is Leo the Lion, and these are his stories of the school's absolute best and brightest who have graduated over the past 50 plus years. So let's catch up together as the Alumni Association of Nassau Community College proudly presents Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome to Lion Tales. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and I'm a director on the board of the Alumni Association at Nassau Community College and a proud graduate. I am here to celebrate the successes of our alum, and together we will share stories that will uplift, inspire, and often amuse you. Each week, I will introduce you to the alumni of Nassau Community College interested in sharing their experiences while attending the college and the secrets to their success. Look for many new and exciting events on the Alumni Association social media pages and share any exciting news with us on Facebook, Instagram, or on our webpage at ncc.edu/alumni. Or find me on X at Dr. Lynnda Nadien. Did you know Leo the Lion is the mascot for Nassau Community College? Lions are ruled by Leo and fire. The male lions represent pride, while the female stands for teamwork. Together, we are Lion Tales. Today, I would like to welcome to Lion Tales Catherine Flanagan, class of 1984. Catherine Flanagan is a proud alum, having received her degree in secretarial science and a certificate in Wang Word Processing, leading her to work as an administrative assistant and executive secretary. This exceptional education led her to a career in secretarial science, working for senior administrators in the aviation division. Mrs. Flanagan is a community activist and advocate, having served on the Plainedge Board of Education for 18 years. Her passion and dedication to the community is exceptional and done with diligence and pride. She loves to walk every day, has been married for 30 years to Captain Dan Flanagan, and is the mother to 3 children who are highly successful in their respective fields. And she loves animals, especially her dog, Lily. Welcome to Lion Tales, Catherine Flanagan, class of 1984.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nadien. I'm so happy to be with all of you.
Great to have you. We'll go right back to the beginning. When you graduated high school, who encouraged you to attend college, and what were some options open to you?
So it's a great story, Dr. Nadien. I had an aunt and a godmother, which was my father's sister, who was an executive assistant to a chief operating officer, chief executive officer of a major oil corporation in New York City. And I always looked at her and said, I want to be like her. I want to be a secretary. So I told my dad, and he said, oh, that's a great idea that you should do that. And I said, I'd like to go to Catherine Gibbs. And he said, oh, Lovey, I can't afford to send you to Catherine Gibbs, but I would love to send you to Nassau Community College where you can get an associate's degree in secretarial science because I'll be able to afford that and you won't have to pay for college. So that's how I ended up at Nassau Community College. It was the best thing that happened in my career journey. Yeah. Attending Nassau Community, it was wonderful.
Yeah, and very smart of him to steer you in a different direction, too. So what was it like arriving to Nassau for the first time?
So when I first arrived at Nassau, I did not actually drive a car. I took the bus. I took a public bus. I took it down Hempstead Turnpike, and then I had to transfer and take the bus that went into Nassau Community College. But I was so excited because I was going to college. I was going to Nassau Community College. It was my first time to be on a college campus. And I was so excited to look around, see the buildings, see the fields. It was wonderful. The old buildings in the back, the historical buildings. It was just wonderful.
And so initially, that school experience coming onto that campus, what were you expecting? Did you have any expectations of what it would be like here, or you just kind of were absorbing it?
I had no expectations because I hadn't visited any college campuses at all. My dad was a New York City bus driver. My mom was a registered nurse. So we didn't have the opportunity to really visit college campuses. But my dad had the information that he knew that Nassau Community would be a great place for his children to attend.
Right. That sounds a lot like my dad. He was very instrumental in, supporting moving toward a community college because, at the time no one really knew about attending college. We just didn't. It was not something that was.
Not in our day and age, no.
And it's funny because, we know now with our own children and the way that we're involved in education, to date, that it's such a huge thing. Like, I don't remember college fairs and, all of these supports all around. So your decision to attend now, so what was the application process like? Do you remember any of that?
So I remember filling out the application at the kitchen table with my dad, and he had come home from work that day and he cashed his paycheck because they used to go to the bank in those days and cash their paychecks. And he said, "Okay, Lovey, how much do I have to give you for the application?" And he handed me the cash, and I went to the registrar and I registered for Nassau Community College.
Oh, that's so exciting. And it's so sweet.
It was wonderful.
It's such it's just, that's not really how it happens now. We probably would have to Zelle the money, or it would be something a lot more complicated than him cashing the check and giving you cash to pay. I remember doing that too. Or when your dad gave you a check and you held on to it very tightly because you didn't want to lose it.
Absolutely. Or if there was like a lot of, 20s or an extra $100 bill, you're like, what? How do I pay this?
Yeah, it's so exciting. So what were some of your favorite courses coming onto the campus for the first time?
So when you first got there, it was some liberal art classes, but there were some typing courses and there was some history courses, English courses that you had to take, and all of them were very inspiring. And even though you took typing in high school, there was a number of typing courses that you had to take at Nassau to, move along in the program. And you had to be typing so many words per minute. And especially as you moved up into the higher level secretarial courses, the numbers became higher. So it was very challenging. You really had to be practicing. And it was at the time that the electric typewriters were in. We got past that ABC, pressing the keys hard. But it was tricky because there were limited machines. But you know what? NASA was wonderful. And everyone had that opportunity to sit at a typewriter or a machine to better their skills. It was fabulous.
Yeah. Was it sort of like a computer lab, but it had the electric typewriters?
Correct. That's exactly what it was, Dr. Nadien. Yes.
Yeah. Because, it was really...
It was a new building, too. It was one of their newest buildings, which was very exciting at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And, now with students in school, they're doing a lot of keyboarding with their iPads or their Chromebooks or whatever device that they're using. And I think that is also, we still kind of teach typing skills, or we should try to model that just so that students really can type well and spell and do all that. What professors?
I agree.
What professors inspired you?
Oh, there were so many of them. I couldn't even go down the list, but there were so many of them. All of them just, it was secretarial science because you were really preparing for the world of working in the corporate world. And all of them built your confidence. Every professor I had at Nassau Community College built your confidence. Whether maybe you had a bad day at the typing or a bad day on your English or a bad day presenting, they said, "You're okay. Tomorrow you'll be back and you'll be wonderful." And you would see them the next day or 2 days later, whatever your course was. And everyone was so supportive to the students. It didn't matter if you were having a good day or a bad day. We had amazing professors, and I really believe that they encouraged me and made me stronger to be where I was in the work world when I first entered it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, in 1984, it was really like almost the beginning of, I guess, the computer era, because what were some of your impressions of the technology at the time? Did you think something was going to be, coming down in the future and you would be prepared for it? What did that technology piece look like?
So at the time, it was still the electric typewriters, but word processing was coming in. And Wang Word Processing was the hot item of that era in 1984. So I was due to graduate in 1984, and Nassau Community and our professors were talking about how word processing was coming along and that they were going to be offering this certificate. An extra 6 months to stay, an extra, course, semester of tuition. However, it could land you a position that someone else may not be able to get. I was so lucky. I asked my dad, I was going to graduate that May, and I said, Dad, this Wang Word Processing is coming out. He said, yes, I read that in the paper. He used to read the newspaper cover to cover. I said, well, Dad, I'd like to stay an extra 6 months in order to receive that certificate because I really believe that NASA offering us the certificate is going to enable me to land a position for a job in New York City. And he said, Lovey, you go for that certificate. I'll pay for it. And I did. And here I was a certified Wang Word Processing person at 20 years old, which was, I know, here we are all these years later, but at that time, it was amazing to have that certification.
Absolutely. You are listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Catherine Flanagan, class of 1984. So going back to, what about stenography? That's always something that I think is amazing. I do see some secretaries that were maybe trained during that time still use it if they're taking notes or not. But did you learn to do that here as well?
Oh, yes. Stenography was one of their top classes that you had to take and pass because at that time, all of the corporations were requiring stenographers. And that was a whole different language, and the pen work and the pad and the way you would hold your pad. And it was amazing. My first number of years, I used stenography. A number of my bosses would call me in, and they would dictate something. And I was so lucky because I did have amazing professors that taught that now almost forgotten language because it was its own language at the time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It really is a great skill to know even now just for any type of note-taking. And you can't really do that on an iPhone or on the computer. You'd have to do it by hand. But, a lot of people still do things by hand. They like to do it that way, so.
Absolutely. And I still remember so many things. And I'm writing like my shopping list while I do it on my phone. I still keep a paper list. There are many times I'm using that stenography that I learned from NASA. It's wonderful.
Oh. Now, over the years, you've worked for certain companies and agency to really foster a better community. Tell us about that, your community activism.
So my community activism, I thank you for that, for recognizing that. Yes, my community activism started when my oldest daughter was entering kindergarten, and I volunteered for a number of committees because I wanted to be involved. I had two younger children. She was 5. I had a younger fellow who was turning 4, and the youngest was turning 2. So they were very close in age, but I wanted to be involved in my schools. So I volunteered for any committee that was available at our little elementary school, and I became involved very young. Very quickly, people approached me to become a PTA representative, which I did. I chaired committees the following year, and then I became the PTA president at our local elementary school, which was wonderful. I got to speak with parents and oversee committees and be involved in field days and boutiques and book sales. Best experience ever. Right. It pushed me to run for the Board of Education, which is also a volunteer position. You are elected by the community, though, for the Board of Education. The PTA, your counterparts elect you to the PTA board. The Board of Education, your community elects you to that position. So 18 years ago, my children were very young, and I was approached by a number of community residents to run for the Board of Education, and I ran, and I won, and I was so proud. I was just so excited that I won a position that the community believed in me to represent them for their children and their schools.
Absolutely. And serving as a Board of Education member and a past president of the Plainedge Board of Education, you were instrumental really in creating incredible programs for students there, and not to mention the renovations that have been completed, under your guidance throughout that time. Can you tell a little bit about the work that you did to ensure that those projects were completed, and maybe give an example of one of the projects that really is outstanding, which of course I know what they are, but I would love you to say what they are.
I'd love to share it. So we've done so many outstanding projects. I'm so proud that Dr. Nadien, we've all served together on the Board of Education. Over the years, our Plainedge High School renovation of the field, a completely new turf field, a stadium that was named after Edward Byrne, who he lost, unfortunately, in the line of duty.
Yes.
That beautiful stadium is one of our biggest and most proud projects that we've done. We've done STEAM rooms. So STEAM, science, technology, English, arts, music. In all of our elementary buildings, I am so proud of those rooms and those buildings. We actually went to conferences where we learned and we saw those STEAM rooms, and we said, we need to bring that to Plainedge. And that's what we did. We brought STEAM rooms to Plainedge. We brought it to the middle school. Another proud moment is our greenhouses. We have greenhouses at all the elementary buildings. Our middle school, we have a gorgeous greenhouse where the children are actually growing vegetables and plants and learning and sharing. It's amazing. We've had furniture upgrades in all of our buildings to make the children comfortable in class. Those old desks that we all sat back in the day,
yes,
those weren't really comfortable. I'm so proud of all of the classroom upgrades that we've made at the elementary level, at the middle school, and at the high school. And we continue to do that. Our teachers love that. Our students love it. We also added in wellness rooms. Children need to calm down. They're beautiful rooms. They're comfortable furniture. And that's another project that we had. We've done amazing upgrades to our facilities. No one wants to hear about the fencing or the roofing, but those are real things in schools. But our community has supported all of those items, and it was no additional cost to the taxpayer. Those were monies that were used from reserves, which I am so proud of, especially because other districts are taking out bonds. We have not taken a bond in this district in many, many years.
Right. And you think about this, why is this work important really for the betterment of the community at large? We've saved people increases and tax. We haven't had a bond floating. Basically, the projects really have impacted the community because all from pre-K all the way to seniors, everyone is really allowed to use the grounds. Now, as the schools face, another budget year, what are your concerns for the future of school districts on Long Island? What might we be looking at to keep costs low and to continue to serve the community, being fiscally responsible, and then also allowing for all these incredible programs to keep flourishing?
So I believe that a very strong Board of Education who understands what their budget is and understands their community is the number one important item of setting the budget. Keeping in mind your community at large. In Plainedge, 2/3 of the community do not have children in our schools. And we have always kept those residents in our minds, while keeping our children in mind and always adding programs, finding a way to add programs. And we've been very lucky with our tax cap, our reserves, and our very, very good fiscal responsibility and budgeting by our office and our Board of Education over the years that have asked the hard questions. We've kept our budget in line. We've been under the budget, the cap, every year. We have never gone over the cap. We've never asked for increased tax cap. And meanwhile, we're keeping our class sizes low. Right. We're all doing these things. And we also, this is the other thing, we look to get every dollar that we can from state aid. That is another way to keep your budget down. And we look to maximize every dollar that we can out of state aid.
Absolutely. Why do you think it's important for certain individuals to make service their signature and to serve the community? Maybe not necessarily on a Board of Education, but even there's boards for the library and, again, working in PTAs. Why do you think some people really have the knack for doing that? Just the characteristics of that type of a person.
So I think the characteristics of that type of a person, the person who really cares, I'll talk about me for a minute. I love speaking to people. I will speak to people when I'm walking Lily. I may not know you, but I'm going to wave at you and I'll talk to you and I'll wave to you. I'm in the supermarkets. I'll stop and talk to you. It's about being approachable. And the best part for me is I am an approachable person, always was, always have been, always will continue to be. And that's really the number one thing, is to be approachable. Number two is to be real. Share with people. Sometimes, like, I can't give you the answer right now. However, I'll get back to you.
Right.
And if you really don't think that you can give someone what they want, you need to say, I'm not really sure if we can do that, but let's look into it. Never dismiss people. Listen to what they have to say. I have never dismissed a person ever. I've always listened. And I try to give people what they want to hear, except sometimes they don't want to hear what you have to say. But I'm so proud of my service on a PTA and a Board of Education, being who I was, telling you I can do what I can get back to you. We can help you if we can. We'll give you the information. That's the best part of that. If you're true and you're real, people will believe in you.
Yes. You are listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Catherine Flanagan, class of 1984. Now, you are also the mother of 3 adult children, and each have completed 4-year college degrees and possibly will be pursuing advanced degrees. How do you feel about higher education, in this day and age, and seeing your own children going through all of that, and you as a parent, you and Dan as parents fostering their love of education and completing these degrees?
So we were so excited. So we encouraged all of our children to be very involved in the schools at a very young age, whether they were at elementary school, middle school, and high school. They were all involved in community service. Some of them played sports. Some of them were on dance teams. Always part of volunteering for events, our Best Buddies events,
yes,
walkathons. Our children were always involved at a very young age. They went off to college. All 3 children went to SUNY schools.
Yes.
4-year degrees, all 3 of them. We're so proud of that. But they continued their work as they went off to college from what they learned here in our district,
right,
that you have to be a good community person. You have to, embrace your education and be a good citizen. And they continue to do that today. We are so proud of them. All of them have completed their 4-year education. One has a master's. Another one may go on for a master's. So we're very excited. Another one moved on to law enforcement. So we're very, very excited about what Dan and I taught them. I was a graduate of Nassau Community College. Dan was a graduate from a SUNY 4-year college. So we're just so proud of our children that they embrace the education.
Right. Absolutely. It's really amazing because, again, you're modeling that in the house, and, they do watch what we do, and they sort of want to do that. And now they all have, special careers in education and in law enforcement. And we know that we need experienced people and good people in these fields. Now, you have experience in really all facets of community work, which includes the schools, the public library, the town. How have you maintained the relationships with all those constituents, especially a lot of work, you know people that work in the town of Oyster Bay, and you're always there to support them. What is that like, keeping those relationships and keeping all that positive?
So it's always positive with our good friends at the town of Oyster Bay. They've supported us. They have supported me personally. I've supported all of the town of Oyster Bay. They're doing great things here for us. Our friends in local government for Nassau County also as well. Great relationship with the town of Oyster Bay, with Nassau County, and actually our state senators. We've had a new state senator that was elected this past year. We have a great relationship there. Our local assemblyman, another a great relationship. So we're very lucky. I built those relationships with our local, as I call them, our friends in local government, because that's what they are. They are the supporters of the schools. They come to help us. They are amazing supporters. And so I just continue to speak with all of them on a regular basis. I'm at local events and school concerts and games. So I'm so lucky to continue those relationships with all of our friends in local government.
Absolutely. Now, moving into Nassau Community College right now, 2023, we will be recruiting, obviously, new students coming in. What would some advice be for these brand new students coming in? Some of them are coming in with second language. Some of them are coming in for the first time to the country, but they're able to receive some scholarship money from our Alumni Association, and they're coming in. What advice would you give to those incoming freshmen for the fall coming up?
I'm so excited. There'll be so many students arriving in Nassau in the fall, and for our language learners, welcome. We're so happy that you're going to be here. What I would say is work hard, have some fun, stay true to yourself, and you will be so successful as a student at Nassau Community College because the supports are there. And just be open-minded and listen. Do your work. You're going to do a wonderful job, and welcome, because it is a fabulous place to start your college career.
Absolutely. I agree. I think there's so much to offer. One of the things that we were discussing is the phys ed requirement, which was bowling. And so many of the alum just absolutely really learned to bowl. And we just loved that course. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Do you remember what you had to do to be to earn the PE credit in bowling?
Oh, goodness. Yes. It was my favorite physical education course.
It was the best.
I loved it. I just loved my bowling days. And you would go and you had to bowl on 3 games. And we had an amazing professor. And I learned how to not bowl with just an 8-pound ball, but I should hold a 10-pound ball. And my average went to a 136.
Oh, wow.
So I was very excited about that. And it encouraged me, actually, at a very young age, to join a bowling league. I used to work part-time at a local supermarket.
Yes.
And there were young people there, too. And we bowl on whatever day it was. And I'm like, I'm taking bowling at Nassau Community College. Oh, join our bowling league. So I joined a women's league. And I joined a mixed league as well. And I actually got my average to 148.
Wow.
So I thank Nassau Community College for getting me to be involved in some physical activity. And that was the requirement at that time. It was my choice to take that course, and I loved it.
Oh, I would like to thank our guest.
It was great.
Catherine Flanagan, class of 1984. How can our listeners contact you?
Oh, Dr. Nadien, they can contact me at, it's CATHYF, like Frank, 510 at yahoo.com. Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Nadien.
Thank you for being here today, Catherine Flanagan. I would like to thank you for being our guest. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and I serve as a director on the board of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association, and I'm a proud alum. Lion Tales is available as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. More information online is at nccradio.org. Thanks for listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC.